I hope all are doing good. Now specifically we are here to discuss about economy, and so that your prelims could be cleared easily. Now how Vijayebhava will be helping you in economy, we all will be discussing this later. But first of all, let us discuss about economy, the basic reason why you are here. Specifically to say, economy as a subject is very much important for clearing prelims. What could be the reason? See, if you see clearly, economy itself constitutes 1/4 of the paper. From 2013, if you see up to 2024, I am considering 2013 as a benchmark because it is the period when UPSC has done reforms. So, in the last 11 years, the weightage of economy had increased a lot. And specifically to say, out of 100 questions, 25 questions will be from economy. If I mean 25 here, this also includes the static part of economy, current affairs of economy, budget, economic survey, and schemes, and also including agriculture, because in our program also we will be discussing agriculture as a part of economy only, because most of the things of economy will be related to agriculture, and both will be having vice versa. Okay, so that's why now consider, if you are good at this 1/4 of the paper, remaining in remaining subjects, even if you perform up to 50%, it will be easier for you to gain marks. Okay, and that is the single biggest reason to have good command over economy. And one more thing is that I know personally many students face the problem in economy, because it is somewhat, compared to polity or history, it is somewhat technical in nature. If I have to select two subjects which are technical in nature across all the syllabus, geography and economy will be the two technical subjects. So now having command over technical subjects is not easy for all the people, that we have to accept. And also it requires some rigorous effort from our side also. Okay, that's why economy will be difficult, and once you know, economy will also be very easy once you know the clear cut concept. So the major reason why you have to have command over economy is that 25% of the questions, 25% of the questions will be from economy. Okay, next, the knowledge of economy will be helping you to solve MCQs in other subjects also, like lateral knowledge. If you have some command over exports, imports ratio and all, you could eliminate options in other questions, in IR questions, science and tech questions, right? So I will show how it will be happening. And one more thing is that compared to other subjects like environment, history, economy, polity are relatively predictable. I will show you example. I had experience of clearing all the prelims I had written, and that is also with +10 or +20 in most of the cases. Now the thing is that simple strategy a person clearing prelims should follow is that if you club polity, economy, SNT, IR, these four will be constituting 50 questions. If you see any paper, some 48 to 52 questions every year. Remaining subjects like environment, history, geography, and other miscellaneous part will contribute around 50 questions. Now, why I had made this artificial division here is that give any year, take any year in the last 10 years, you can get, if you are well prepared, you can score 90 to 95% accuracy in these 50 questions, because these are predictable. We have specific sources, and UPSC is also following specific themes in that. Now, when we are coming to this, there is no clarity in history, because if you see last 3 to 4 years, history had become a nightmare. Once questions used to come from spectrum, now that is not the case. Now if you open spectrum book of this year, you will see all the questions which came in the exam, but the thing is that they had updated after the exam paper. That's why you will see those questions. Now similar is the case with environment. Environment, obviously these two will be having heavy weightage. History alone constitutes around 20 questions, including modern, ancient, medieval, art and culture. But your return on investment will be very high. So my case is that in these subjects, if you are getting 90 to 95% accuracy, it means you can 45 questions can get correct here. Similarly, these are relatively very dynamic. And also, if you take the case of environment, 1 year questions will be completely on species, 1 year on legislations, 1 year on protected area networks. So, and also sometimes international conventions. If we identify themes, it is okay. But the problem here is that even if we are working a lot on them also, you can maintain an accuracy of only 50 to 60% here. I am not saying that you have to leave this, but to score 120, see, our target is to clear the forest service cutoff. Now, why I am saying this? Because once exam happens on May 25th, you will be for sure we do not have any clarity on keys, because every institute will be giving their own keys. UPSC will be having different key. If you consider last year paper, the most prestigious institutes in India, be it Delhi institutes or Hyderabad institutes, everyone had mismatch of around 10 to 12 questions. 10 questions means 26 marks if we add negative marking also. Now, if you are adding negative, if you consider all those as correct as per these keys, and in final key it will be different, you will be in a major problem. So, my case is that if cutoff would be 90, you should target 110. First thing is that you will clear forest cutoff also, and also we will be with very confidence. The time duration between the prelims May 25th and the result, it is taking around 15 days now. Last year it is even less time. Now in 15 days these will be nightmare for us because we will be in sense of insecurity whether we will be clearing prelims or else not clearing. A person who is scoring 60 marks will not have any problem, and a person who is scoring 120 marks also will not have any problem. But the people in between that 80 to 100, they do not know. Now that is the precious time. So my say is that even if we have to utilize that 15 days properly, we have to have an advantage, right? So to have that advantage, we need to strategize properly while preparing, while solving. We have to attend the paper in 3 rounds. In the course of time, I will be discussing all those, how one could maximize their marks. Okay, so that is the case. My say is that we have to maximize our economy, polity and these scores. And after that, here, so at max to max, we have achieved here 80 marks. Now here 50% plus and minus, here we can score around 30 marks to 40 marks. So overall we will be in net 110 or net 100 plus. Okay, so that will be in a very safe position for us. That's why this is very much essential for us. And even in this also 50% weightage is for economy only. That is the case. I am telling that why economy would be very important to us. And one more thing, why economy is even more important is that take the case of history or else any subject. No offense to other subjects also. The thing is that take a subject as history, you have to keep a lot of effort and there is no guarantee that you will put correct in the exam because it is somewhat memory based. But once you have got command over subject in economy, you will not forget until your death. Just a proper revision before day of the exam is essential, isn't it? So if you got clarity over monetary policy, fiscal policy, this expansionary policy, contractionary policy, one question for sure will be coming from that area. Now obviously you need to know the idea, what about expansionary, what about contractionary, what happens in it. Once you get command over it, obviously no one in the world can stop you from keeping it correct. Similar is the case with balance of payment chapter. Take external sector, what would be the changes with respect to FPI outflow and dollar exchange rate. Now all this will be coming from our conceptual clarity. So once you gain conceptual clarity, there is no point that you will be committing mistakes. So we can make sure that at least out of these 20 to 25 questions, 20 questions, which means around 40 marks in our hand, specifically to economy. Got it? So that is why economy as a subject is very much important to us. And one more thing, if you see last 10 to 11 papers, and in fact from 1995 also, there are some repeated themes UPSC is following. across all the subjects, and this is very much valid for economy. I will show you some sample themes. See, every year there will be a question on inflation. One of the sub theme in that inflation is comparison of various indicators of inflation like CPI, WPI, GDP deflator. These are the major measurements we are using for inflation calculation in the country. If you see, in the last 10 years, they had asked around 4 to 5 times about this. Comparison between different indicators, or else specifically about inflation. This is one such thing. Similarly, take the case of budgeting chapter. In budget, some important themes is that you need to know the difference between capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, capital receipts, revenue receipts. These 4 things. If you know the difference between these 4, you can solve any question from them. Every alternate year, you can say a question on this. Okay, so you need to just know the basic difference between capital. They can twist anything in options, but once you have conceptual clarity, you will for sure keep the answer correct. Okay, next. Now, in budget, there are different, I am telling the chapter names. For example, inflation. Comparison between different indices of inflation is one theme. There are many sub-themes. Overall, I had identified around 70 themes in economy. So, our goal in our Vijayebhava is that you have to gain clarity and command over these 70 themes in economy. With these themes, you can complete all the syllabus, whole syllabus in the economy, and by that you can make the things correct. Right? See, rather than going to each and everything, which they are asking more. Obviously, we will be discussing other topics also, but which we are asking more, we will concentrate on them. We will revise them more. See, questions on unemployment, poverty is a rare case in prelims. Obviously, in the last 10 years, they had asked once or twice, but it is a rare case. So, it should be our last priority. So, even in this also, what I had done specifically is that for all the topics in the economy, I had divided them into 5-star, 3-star and 1-star. Now, if you are having some good amount of time, you will be revising all the topics. Or else, if you are having only specific time, less time, say just 1 day before the exam or else 2 days before the final exam. Obviously, you will be in a very tense situation at that time. You will be just going through those 5-star topics and 3-star topics. Okay, so that is the case. Now, I am telling there are some sub-themes with respect to specific chapters. See, I specifically will be dealing with economy in this Vijayebhava in 20 hours. Economy. Now, I had divided that whole as per UPSC's questionnaire, not as per these standard books and all. UPSC's questionnaire, I had divided the things into 12 modules. We will be discussing these modules independently. Now, under this, every topic we will be having some sub-themes. Now, for example, I had shown one theme in inflation. Similarly, take the case of budget. We will be having both static and dynamic part. See, this is one static topic which is related to budgeting, this capital expenditure, revenue expenditure and all. Similarly, every year UPSC has an habit to ask 1 or 2 questions from union budget of that specific year. For example, in 23-24, there is in budget, anemia Mukt Bharat strategy has been mentioned. They had asked a question on it. So, any schemes which have been mentioned in the budget will also be very much important. For example, take the case. In this year's budget, there is a scheme regarding PM Juga, Janjati Unnat Gram Abhiyan. Okay. Now, recently government had changed the name also to Dharti Aaba scheme. Obviously, you will be having one more budget before you will be writing exam on February 1st. So, this would be somewhat redundant. That budget will be very much important for us. So, we had planned our economy classes in such a way that economy classes will be happening after our release of budget. Say and on January 31st, you will be having economic survey. So, we will be having our classes in the same pattern. Okay. Now, see, I am telling that budget dynamic, that specific year budget is also an important theme for economy. So, this is a sample here. Similarly, in past also there are many cases. For example, there is mention of Ayushman Bharat digital mission in budget. They had asked a question on that. So UPSC is picking themes based on these criteria. Next. And one more thing, the very easy chapter and students often leave is microeconomics, because seeing the things they say consider that it is very difficult chapter. But once there are just even if you consider the microeconomics NCERT, any question in microeconomics until now hadn't went out of microeconomics NCERT. And in that whole book of around 90 pages, you need to read just 10 pages. Remaining all graphs, all are useless for us. There are some specific topics in that which we need to revise. For example, opportunity cost. 2 times question on opportunity cost had come. Further, Veblen goods, Giffen goods. Once question had come on that. Similarly, we will be having topics like complementary goods, supplementary goods. Question had come on that. So, only things which we are relevant for the exam, we will be discussing with respect to that microeconomics chapter. And if you see last 10 years papers, every alternate year, there is a question on microeconomics. And last year, there is no question on microeconomics. So, this year, there is a probability to get a question on microeconomics. Right. So, that's why I had added that also as one of our module. So, now, even if you are joining the program or not, that is secondary, but obviously you will be writing the exam. That is the main thing. Now, for us, qualifying the exam is the most important thing, whether you are joining any program or not. So, to gain maximum score in our economy, the basic thing you need to do is that from any source, be it any YouTube classes or else any specific institute course or else any material, first of all, try to gain conceptual clarity. Once gaining conceptual clarity of individual topics, no one can stop you in marking correct answer. Okay? One simple thing is to get conceptual clarity. Okay? How exchange rate will be affecting the inflation, what is sterilization, all these things. Because once you get conceptual clarity, you will easily remember all the things. Next thing is that we need to have last day notes. I call it as last day notes, because in the last in the last 2 days we need to have some buffer before going for prelims, because however properly we will be planning, there will be some spillover. Now what you can do is that our target is to complete whole economy in half day or 1 day, because before last 1 week before the exam we need to revise all the subjects. And mind it, just day before the exam, it will be beneficial if you revise polity and history, not economy. Because economy, even if you read 3 to 4 days before also, it will be fresh in our mind. That is not the case with history. Obviously, no, it is common sense, because history is somewhat more factual. So, my say is that you need to revise economy 3 to 4 days before the exam, and that also you have to complete in half day or 1 day. For that, you need to have some crisp notes. Okay. And further, you need to cover along with conceptual clarity in static part. Next, last day notes. You need to read current affairs of last 1 year. And if a question comes on current affairs in economy, clear-cut trend is that it will surely be of the topics which are heavily in use. See, take the case of environment. Sometimes you will be getting questions which are very in remote current affairs, but questions will be coming. For example, they had asked a question on UN habitat. That year, it is not a major issue, and no magazines in India had covered that. Similarly, there are many other examples like sustainable housing question, or else take the case of some many other questions with respect to environment and all. But specifically to economy, if you see current affairs, the thing is that if any current affairs question has been asked, it will be heavily in use. I will say examples. For example, take last year they had asked a question on RBI retail direct scheme. That is flagship initiative of RBI. RBI retail direct scheme is that you might be knowing about this primary auctions of government securities, G-SECs. In the sale of G-Secs, first time in after independence, RBI had allowed private individuals to buy or trade in G-Secs in primary auctions. This is very important flagship thing. So UPS had asked that. Similarly, last year there has been a question on central bank digital currency. Obviously, it is heavily in news. Another question on NFTs, non-fungible tokens. This is also heavily in news. So my say is that if around 20 to 25 questions will be coming in economy, 5 questions would be from current affairs. And these 5 questions will also be such that they are very low hanging fruits. So if you read the mainstream magazines or else attending the classes, then also all those things will be covered. Okay, that is the case with economy. But the thing is that try to cover last 1 year current affairs for economy specifically. Going back of that is of very less utility for us. Even if one question will be coming, obviously many people will be keeping it wrong. So no offense to us. Similarly, budget 25-26 and economic survey 24-25 will be very much important. Obviously the documents will be out in February 1st and Jan 31st respectively. Now, how economic survey is important? For prelims, you need not read cover to cover. For mains, reading cover to cover of economic survey will be very much useful. But for prelims, it is not the case. They will be picking some facts, trends, any initiatives mentioned. For example, last year there is a question on India's export share among the world. They had mentioned that India's export share is around 3.8%, some 3.5%. But in economic survey, the same year economic survey, it is clearly mentioned that India's economic share is, India's exports share across the world is 1.8%. This was directly picked from economic survey. Similarly, economic survey spoke about production linked incentive scheme. The same question has been asked. So, since government, obviously UPSC will be referring to government documents. These two are major flagship government documents specific to economy. So obviously they will be asking questions from that. Accepted? And after this, what you have to do is that you have to identify repeated themes. The things which I had mentioned now, like opportunity cost, that specifically to say some things related to inflation, budgeting, taxation. So all these things will be important for the exam. So you need to identify those repeated themes and revise them regularly. And one more thing, to score high marks, obviously while reading books or else after attending the classes, what is the thing happening to you? You are acquiring knowledge. So knowledge acquisition is the first step in clearing prelims. Next, application of that knowledge is very much essential. So once we acquire knowledge, application of knowledge is essential. To apply that knowledge, we need to attend test series. Will accept? So with either you will be writing tests or else attending classes. Both of them separately is not sufficient to clear the exam. But if you are doing in structured manner, obviously it will be very much beneficial, because after knowledge acquisition, we need to apply the knowledge. Once application of knowledge happens, we will get clarity that we are lacking in somewhere. For example, consider about our Vijayebhava program. I and Vishnu sir personally planned it basically. Now, our basic motto is that, for example, in economy, in the morning you will be having class on inflation from 8 to 10. Until up to evening 5 o'clock, 5:30, you will be having time to attend that class and revise the topic. Evening in the 5:30, you will be having 10 MCQs regarding that topic. Now, after you had completed acquisition of knowledge, you can apply that knowledge. Obviously, it is, in fact, we are not robots to keep all the questions correct. Even after attending classes and reading also, there will be some gaps and clarity mismatches. Once you solve the MCQs, you can know where you are lacking. Right? So, once you know where you are lacking, you can correct yourself. And in the next day class, initially in the first 15 to 20 minutes, we will be having brief discussion of those 10 MCQs. Sort of doubt solving session. Now you are attending the class, then solving the MCQs. After this doubt solving session, your full circle will be completed. Complete conceptual clarity is possible. Then we will be repeating this for the entire syllabus. That is a major thing we started this Vijayebhava program. And one more thing is that, so even if you are not joining this program also, that is your personal thing, of course, I suggest you to follow this process. Learn, first of all, acquire knowledge, then apply that knowledge and take the case. If you are writing 2 hours of test, your work doesn't end there. You have to invest 2 more hours in reading the solution, knowing where you had committed mistakes, maintain a copy, and in that copy, keep the test number 2, economy, where mistakes you had done. For example, I had read the question wrong. They had asked correct. I had written incorrect. I had read incorrect. So, majorly, your mistakes will be because of 3 things: lack of conceptual clarity, reading the question wrong, or else you do not know the topic at all. These 3 are the possible cases. Now, after writing the exam, you will be knowing even if you are reading a lot and you had marked that question wrong, that is lack of conceptual clarity. That again after revising, you can correct it. Now the second thing, reading the question wrong, correct, incorrect, or else missing one option, all these things. This is sin. It is papam. Because even after knowing also, we will be marking wrong. Now, I am not telling that you won't be doing these mistakes. Every person will be doing these mistakes. But once we had recognized that we had done that mistake, in the next test, we shouldn't repeat it. That is the case. So, to have things settled, just write that. And before you are going to attempt the next exam, see the mistakes you had committed in the last exam. And even after the completion of the next test, if you are doing the same mistake, you are in specifically a bad position. You have to correct yourself. Okay. Next, the third thing in the test, what I had told, first thing is lack of conceptual clarity. Second thing is committing known mistakes. And the third thing is doesn't know at all the topic. Now, while reading the solution, obviously you will be learning about new topic. We had an additional chance to cover that. So, this is the utility of a test series. Utilize it properly. Writing 100 to 150 tests is of useless if you are not doing things. Just attempting an exam is not at all sufficient. So, specifically to say, ideally, you have to write 15 full length tests. 2 sectional tests, I am telling the minimum case, 15 full length tests, 2 sectional tests for every subject in the syllabus. For every subject in the syllabus. And writing these unit tests and all will give more conceptual clarity. Okay. So, and remember that 15 tests of full length test is very much essential. And in that 15 also, you can write tests from a single institute of 10 to 12 tests. But remaining 3 to 4 tests, try to write from other institutes. In the market, obviously, you will be getting. So, what happens? You can feel the difference of paper. So, our mind will be getting habituated to shock. And lastly, when you will be going and attempting the UPSC paper, it will be some different paper, obviously. So, once already you had attempted the paper, you had already internalized the shock. It will be easier for you. So, this is the utility of test series. Understood? So, in a structured manner, if you are doing this, everything is possible. Okay? If you see last 10 to 11 year papers, obviously you can see some repeated themes. And in fact, there will be direct repeated questions also. For example, 2 years back there is a question on relation between money multiplier and cash reserve ratio. The same question as it is without even changing the options has been asked in 2019. Without even changing the options. So, this is one more utility with previous year questions. So, learning previous year questions directly will be giving us some marks, and also we can identify themes which are being asked repeatedly. For example, in the last 3 to 4 years, they are focusing more on capital market. Before years, there is no such questions from capital market. Recent times they are asking questions about capital market like beta and all. Similarly, if you see last 2 to 3 years, they are asking questions about external commercial borrowings, depository receipts, the concept behind it. All these are heavily in use, they are focusing on it. So these are the themes which we have to identify looking at the previous year questions. Okay. So now I will be telling how Vijayebhava will be specifically helping you. Okay. Now in this way I had divided the whole economy syllabus in 12 modules. In some 20 to 24 hours we will be covering all the chapters clearly. Now with this your knowledge acquisition part is completed. In the evening when you will be writing those 10 MCQs, you will be applying that knowledge. Next day morning you will be correcting your mistakes. So by that one circular happened. In this way, in a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, these 5 days you will be repeatedly acquiring the knowledge and applying the knowledge. On Saturday you will be having a break. On Saturday you will be revising all these 5 days things. And on Sunday you will be having sectional test of 100 MCQs on all the topics. By this, complete circle of your preparation of that 5 days topics will be completed. Okay. Similar pattern will be applied for all the subjects. Okay. And in these classes, your current affairs will be already included. And specifically to say, in the end also you will be having some separate current affairs classes. Because what happens, I will be teaching this economy, probably in our schedule it is from February 2nd to February 14th, I guess, subject to correction. Now in that classes I can max to max cover current affairs only up to January. So but in prelims it is on May 25th, you will be having current affairs of Jan, Feb, March and all. So at the end of March 31st or in the beginning of April, we will be having separate current affairs sessions or specific subject covering all those all those 4 months. So our thing is that we shouldn't leave any stone unturned. Okay, that is the thing. And in these classes, along with these classes, we will be providing short notes. I am telling about this last day notes. No, we will be providing that last day notes. So last day notes will be helping you revising easily and leaving aside the things. Vijayebhava, I myself, this is not the case with other subjects, I myself will be giving my handwritten notes along with this digital notes, so that it will be easier for you to revise in the last. Okay, I will show you the sample ones. See, this is the summary notes for inflation topic. Okay, so in it specifically whatever the things UPSC is asking and in a crisp manner how we need to do, for every chapter in around 7 to 10 pages we are covering the syllabus, so that it will help you in last minute revision. Now obviously if you are having your short notes, you can utilize it, and if a person, obviously that is the case with most of the people, if they are not having notes, they can utilize it. The thing is that you should have a notes to revise in the last, whether be it your personal note or institute notes or a topper notes. That is your thing. Okay. And specifically to say about Vijayebhava also, one more thing we had added in this is, beside in this room, that room we are calling it as mentorship room. There some 2 to 3 people of prelims masters will be available. Those are the persons who had attended interviews in the past, or else they had some good scores in prelims in the past. They will be any time during the office times, you can go and meet them if you are getting low marks in prelims. So once you go to them, they can, since already they had some experience over it, they will be suggesting you how you can improve the marks. Obviously in the classes you can ask any faculty, that is common thing. And other than that also, we had named them as prelims masters. Specifically every day from January 1st they will be available. You can ask any doubts to them, subject doubts, and also along with it how to improve your marks. That also, those people will also be available. Okay, this is added some more feature in this. Yeah. So any doubts specifically? Yeah, not about the program, even other things also. No, not an issue. Yeah. Any things related to economy?
What about the budget that has released in 2024?
Yeah, if wanted, we can discuss. That is not an issue.
I mean, is it important for the...
Generally, they are asking questions of recent budget, that is the immediate budget. But here the catch is that after our prelims exam, this year's prelims exam, which happened on June 16th, after that prelims exam only, this year's budget had come. Because since this is election year, they had released interim budget. So we can discuss briefly. But it would be of very less importance because paper will be prepared just 1 month before the exam. They will be correcting the questions and they will be piling up. Once just 1 month before the exam, they will be finalizing the things. So obviously they will be interested more to ask union budget, recent budget. Okay, but there are in YouTube also we have done union budget classes of this year, and in the classes also I will try to discuss it. Not an issue. But economic survey next year is enough, because economic survey is the thing what had happened in the last 1 year now. So specifically economic survey which will be released on next year Jan 31st will be sufficient. For budget, along with next year's budget, this year budget would also be somewhat helpful. Okay. Yeah, and one more thing, please don't burden your mind, keep the things simple. Reading some material or else attending some classes, writing tests, improving on it, solving PYQs and again reading. So revise, write, revise, write, analyze and revise. These 3 things should continue in cycle up to May 24th. Okay. If you are doing the same thing for every subject, obviously you can clear the exam. There is no other thing. Okay. Online students, any doubts?
Sir, how far static part will be helpful for mains?
Obviously no, because if you see in economy, in mains economy, this is part of GS3 as you all know. In GS3, if you see question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All these 10 questions are related to economy. This is fixed pattern. From 2013, this is fixed pattern, and specifically if you are going from 2017, when up to 2017, there is a case with mains that they used to ask 12.5 marker, 20 12.5 markers. From 2018, they had changed it and they had shifted to 10 markers and 10 15 markers. In that, 50% of the paper is based on economy and agriculture. Okay. So 125 marks will be specific to economy and agriculture. And in that, for example, 2 years before, they had asked the question about difference between capital budget, revenue budget. Once they had asked about major focusing area and themes of union budget of that year, 2018-19. And once they had asked about this changes in the national income accounting in 2015, you might be knowing this. GDP calculation methodology has been changed in India. They had asked one question in that form. Once they had asked about this income tax related changes. So obviously static part is very much important, and even that also in mains, even if current affairs are asked, you have to substantiate your points with your static knowledge only. And these 4 questions and sometimes even 2 more questions also will be catering to agriculture part. Agriculture in mains is very much important, more than prelims, because direct syllabus keywords will be taken and asked. For example, every alternate year they will be asking question on land reforms. Every alternate year they will be asking questions on food processing. They will be asking question on marketing. These are specifically mentioned in the exam. Utility of e-technology in farming. Aid of e-technology in the farming. Next, irrigation. The syllabus keywords which are clearly mentioned in the syllabus, this about economy, questions will be directly from those keywords. No, not even a single change. And that is 100% sure for agriculture. Somewhat economy questions will be tricky. For example, that year 2021, if I am not wrong, they had asked about V-shaped recovery. After COVID, they had asked about V-shaped recovery. That is clear. One chapter specifically in economic survey of that year is about V-shaped recovery. The second chapter in that economic survey is about V-shaped recovery. They had asked one question. So some people may not be able to manage those type of questions. But these economy questions are clear cut. If you are making some notes 2-page notes for every topic in the syllabus. It is very much easy to handle those things. Okay. Yeah, no, Vijayebhava classes will be daily 2 hours specifically, because you have to have time for revision also, no. So classes will be 8 to 10. That is clear. And if a faculty will be not available, it could change to 9 to 11 at max. After 11 you won't be having any class. 8 to 10 max, we will be trying to keep it 8 to 10 only. At max, if any problem arises, it will be 9 to 11, 2 hours classes, and remaining day they will be getting time for revision. Then in evening 5:30 or 6 you can come and write the exam, or else you can attempt it online in your home also. That is not an issue, but you have to write. That is the measurement, no, whether we had acquired the required knowledge or not. So 8 to 10 you will be having classes, remaining time you will be revising, and evening 5:30 or 6 you will be writing the test. See, the thing is that if you see the schemes,
Government schemes.
Government schemes, we are in Vijayebhava we are having some 3 classes exclusively for schemes which are important, and leaving aside the program also, schemes which are heavily in use, they are asking only those things. For example, they had asked about this Anemia Mukta Bharat strategy, which is heavily in use. Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, this is heavily in use. Janani Suraksha Yojana, they had asked one question. There is some modification in that scheme, that's why they had asked that question, and it is also in use. So, which are in use in the last 1 year, you will be reading them. And other than that, there are some flagship schemes which we have to read every year. For example, this MG Narega, Food Security Mission. So, these are very much important every year. So, we will be covering that in classes, and only the important things we will be reading, because humanly it is not possible to cover all the 200 to 300 schemes. So, 50 to 60 schemes which are in use, we will be covering it. And specifically budget schemes, the schemes in budget document, you just, if a word is mentioned also, it will be very much important. In budget document, around 20 to 25 schemes will be mentioned. You will be reading clearly of those schemes, and any new schemes which government had launched other than those budget schemes, all those will be very important. Along with that, some flagship schemes will not be more than 10 to 15. So that is the case. Yeah, if you have any more doubts regarding the program, you can reach the team anytime. Yeah, thank you. We'll end our class here.